kind of a snapshot of where we are with the Institute for Astronomy in terms of science, appointments that we've made recently, and future plans. So, nice picture of a sunrise morning up on Mauna Kea with a hina hina, otherwise known as silver sword, in late bloom right there. First of all, I'm very excited to announce that we have four incoming faculty as a result of our last recruiting round. You see Nora Scaff there on the left. She, in fact, is just to the left of me, her office here at IFA Hilo. She is a 51 Peg B fellow and is also going to become a full-blown faculty member, tenure track faculty member starting next May. You see Rohan on the right there. He's coming to us from Harvard. He'll start in June of next year. Nej from SITA is going to arrive in August of next year, and Kartik as well, on August 3rd, 2026, from Columbia University. Kartik is a NASA Hubble Fellow. So we have four wonderful junior faculty that are going to join our team here in Hawaii. And these three of those four are based in Manoa, one in Hilo. I'm going to shamelessly put a plug in for another round of faculty recruitments within the next week or so. We should be advertising for two more faculty positions, one based in Manoa, one based at Maui, the latter being for solar astronomy. So that'll bring us up with about eight new faculty, plus the two more we're recruiting, so 10 altogether in the past few years. We've also completed, I believe, eight faculty hires in the Space Science and Engineering program, so it's about 18 altogether between the technology and research and education program that we run. We have six new grad students that just arrived a few weeks ago in our 2025 cohort. So lots of activity. The building here at Hilo is basically jammed with students and people and things going on. Other noteworthy things to share with you. We said aloha to President Lasner, who is one of the longest standing presidents at UH, I think, in the history of the university. You see him there on the CFHT catwalk. And a few months later, we welcome President Wendy Hensel, who is seen there in the middle of this picture. I invited her up, and we had about a half a day or so with her and her husband there. Up on Mauna Kea at Halepahaku, her first time to actually see a big telescope like that. Wendy's a real joy to work with. Very articulate, very smart, lawyer by training, but a senior administrator with extremely good leadership skills. So I've enjoyed working with Wendy a lot. I feel a little bit badly for her, given she parachuted in and started her job at UH in January, and you all know what happened soon thereafter with the federal budget situation. In other news, sad to say, but I announced about 3 months ago that we are going to have our third telescope from Mauna Kea decommission, and that is UCURT. You see some headlines there from the local paper and UH News. Sort of long story short, I decided to go and announce that when I did, recognizing that it's about a 5-year process. We hopefully will maintain Naval Observatory sponsorship of the infrared survey that's ongoing now. And the first 2 or 3 years of any decom process is mostly permitting and paperwork and things of that sort. The actual deconstruction work is at the very end. So announcing that now gives us some clarity, I think, across the observatories to realize UCURT is not going to be seeking a new any kind of lease arrangement per se. And this also allows CMS to essentially take the leadership role and oversight role with the decommissioning, which will simplify things for Mauna Kea Authority, I think, given everything that they've got on their plate right now. Nice picture of Pavali, one of my favorite flowers up on Mauna Kea. It is a really high altitude flower. This is about 10,000 foot level, and that plant is about 3 or 4 feet tall. So it's beautiful blooms that you get up there in the springtime. Let's see, and the sort of cool things that have occurred in the past few months. This is a citation or award that we got from IEEE, which I think is the largest engineering professional organization in the world. And that citation, which is now affixed to the outside of the UH 2.2 meter, reads dedicated 26 June 1970. UH 88-inch astronomical telescope atop Mauna Kea's 13,796 foot peak was both the world's highest and the first to be controlled by a computer. Its location on the equator, above 40% of the Earth's atmosphere and 90% of the water vapor, allowed observations of nearly the entire sky and thereby enabled the most advanced and powerful Earth-based astronomical observations. And this is the first of, I think, 3 short video clips I thought I'd share with you, which I think did a really nice job of capturing that event.
Honoring honors for a UH telescope atop Mauna Kea. The UH-88 telescope has been named an IEEE milestone by the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. The award recognizes innovations that have changed the world. Built in 1970, the UH-88 was the world's first computer-controlled telescope, and some of its UH-designed sensors inspired technology now used in NASA's James Webb Space Telescope.
Every astronomy facility is based on kind of things we did in the past, the science that we've learned, but also the technology we've developed. And at the 88-inch telescope, you see that we're part of that ecosystem. And that's worldwide. Ground-based telescopes, space-based telescopes, we've played a big role in all of those.
Other IEEE milestones in Hawaii include wireless communication technology, AlohaNet, developed at UH Manoa nearly 50 years ago, and the original electric lights at Elan Pass.
So pretty good company there for this award in Hawaii. And we've got some really neat things going on at the 88-inch, including the new adaptive secondary mirror, which I think will be the second one after RTF got theirs a year or so ago. I think that's scheduled for arrival later this quarter or fourth quarter this year. Mark we saw in that video, just mentioned to me yesterday, they're going to give it a go with the full robotic operating mode next spring. And we also have Christoph Baranek's laser AO system that's being commissioned right now on the 2.2 meter. So it's the oldest telescope up there, but it's got some really advanced electro-optics that are being installed on it. Here's a nod to the next speaker and all of the observatories. We had a block party, the second one of this year. This is a great opportunity for all the observatories to come together, and we had, I think, 500 or 600 people visit us. Those pictures are from the building tours that I and Christoph Baranek provided for. We had like 200 people, I think, in the end come through the IFA building. And here's another short video by local news that I thought did a nice job of capturing that celebration of Tanabata and Mauna Kea astronomy.
The Tanabata Block Party lit up downtown Hilo Saturday night, bringing the community together for science, culture, and fun. Hosted by the Mauna Kea Observatories, the free event had it all. Hands-on activities, dance lessons, a Japanese car show, and it all wrapped up with stargazing through telescopes.
It's really a cool event because we're doing not only science and engineering education and activities, but also cultural stuff too. Hawaiian cultural as well as Japanese cultural stuff.
The Hilo Japan Club also shared the Tanabata Story, a festival that honors two star-crossed lovers separated by the Milky Way who are allowed to meet just once a year.
And because no presentation by me is complete without showing trees being planted, and because your boss at Keck is right here, and he took some of these pictures, this is a great way to extend our community engagement program. And we've been doing this sort of quietly for several years now. This is a picture taken a few weeks ago up on Mauna Kea. We are literally trying to transform this landscape into a Mamani forest to drive the tree line uphill to support the Palila, which are highly endangered. There are only about 300 left on Hawaii Island, therefore the entire world. I think this is perhaps the dirtiest, richest truck has ever gotten. My first time up there at Skyline. It's a great program, and I thought I'd share this with you to show that we are diversifying in all kinds of really cool ways with our community outreach program, the ways we engage the local community. And one slide on the Mauna Kea Scholar Program. We had a blast last year again. This is the 10th year for running Mauna Kea Scholars. We have had over 1,300 students statewide participate in this program, and about a third have gotten observing time. And this little video, I think, does a nice job of capturing the success of Mila Rexford, who is, I just met her at the Tanabata Festival a couple weeks ago, and starting her astronomy education career here, if you will, at UH Hilo.
High School has been awarded a $10,000 scholarship from the Mauna Kea Scholars Program. Mila Rexford plans to study the University of Hawaii at Hilo this fall. She's been collaborating with astronomers through the program since she was a sophomore and created 3D models for her project, The Mystery of the Red Square Nebula.
It started from a simple proposal, just from being interested in the topic I chosen, which was a red square nebula, up until receiving telescope time, able to go to the Big Island, look at the Mauna Kea Observatory. Just seeing the environment that real astronomers work in is so inspiring, it's so fascinating.
In addition to the scholarship, 10 more Waipahu High School students were awarded telescope time to do their own projects.
And you see there, Mary Beth Lachek, many of you recognize her in that picture. It just occurred to me. She just started a new position full-time at the Institute for Astronomy, working as a sponsored position by all the observatories as the new MKO internship coordinator. So she's essentially building a high school and undergraduate internship program here on Hawaii Island that we hope to extend to other islands over time. And then few focuses on how IFA has kind of been in the news with our research program. I have a ton of material here, but I decided to focus exclusively on the ATLAS program. ATLAS is a set of 5 telescopes that is part of the NASA-sponsored planetary defense system. Between ATLAS and PanSTARRS, I believe IFA is #1 worldwide in terms of detecting near-Earth objects on an annual basis. And I thought I'd share this. I think it's the last video I have because I've never seen anybody on IFA being interviewed or shown with Lester Holt on NBC Nightly News. This was about 6 months or so ago.
Okay, so I'll tell you about the new video that's got everyone looking up. Finally, tonight, good news about a new visitor in outer space. Scientists are calling it a mini moon, but is it really? Steve Patterson explains.
For 4 billion years, this lone oil rock has been our trusty little sidekick, tagging along our corner of the cosmos like an interstellar golden retriever. So it's only right that once in a while it has some company. Meet the mini moon.
It's a mini moon in the sense that it's small, it's going to hang around for a few months, but then it's going to go off on its way.
Right now, the Earth's gravitational pull is playing host to something we traditionally find a little scary, an asteroid. Scientists say it swung by, got caught up in our gravity, and will spend about the next 60 days orbiting the planet.
You can imagine us both sharing kind of the same racetrack as we go around the sun.
And no, there's no need to fear. They're not kidding about the mini part. The asteroid, affectionately named 2024 PT5, is literally 33 feet long, about the size of your average school bus. Which is great for humanity staying off the extinction list, but a little disappointing if you were looking to dust off that telescope in the garage. It's too small and too dark for most of us to glimpse, but experts say that shouldn't make it any less exciting.
The way that studying these rocks actually ties us to something, much bigger, much older than we can imagine.
A part-time phenomenon, shedding more cosmic light on the wonder of the universe, and confirming our loyal rock has no celestial equal. Steve Patterson, NBC News, the Milky Way.
Just as long as it stays in its lane. That's nightly news for.
So that was kind of fun to see on NBC Nightly News, IFA faculty like that represented and interviewed. Next on the list is 3i Atlas, which I'm sure everybody's heard of, detected also by Atlas. This is the facility that we operate in Chile. You see a little animated GIF there showing how challenging it was to initially detect. It's a tribute to the software and analysis algorithms that they use to extract these moving objects. It's a very low galactic latitude, hence the complex field that was detected in. And in yellow there, you see the huge team at the Institute for Astronomy, faculty and graduate students and associates that worked on the follow-up observations, which are ongoing now, in fact, as it moves its way, I believe, past Mars. And then the last Atlas discovery that I'll share with you over the past year is 2024 YR4, which got a lot of press coverage as well because of the potential for being an impactor. Since this headline here, it's been downgraded to no longer being significant in terms of probability of impact. It may come close to the moon out in 2032, which would be a pretty spectacular event if it was actually visible and occurs. But in any case, we've gotten a lot of media coverage with our planetary defense program at IFA. Then I'll finish it off with what I call strategic planning. Nice shot of Keck that I took from the CFH catwalk a couple weeks ago. Mahalo to John O'Meara, if he's out there. He and I sort of tag team in the immediate aftermath of the federal budget cuts. John more or less moved to Washington, as far as I can tell, worked the situation there. I stayed here and worked with local media to basically get the word out about the situation and try and inspire local community members to have their voices heard through various mechanisms, tracing back to the federal delegation and the federal government overall. If you're wondering at UH, if you add it up, it's well over $100 million reduction in cuts at the university. In fact, there'll be a fairly large announcement, I think, today from President Hensel about that. given the Title III cuts that were announced last week. And then at IFA, the biggest effect so far, and I'm sure many of you have noticed this, the cash flow into UH from national funders like the NSF and NASA has slowed down notably. So hopefully that will be addressed in time, but it's an ongoing sort of situation emerging for us. So we had HPR news coverage. You see a little informal survey there in the local paper, noting public concerns about the astronomy cuts as well. It's not all bad news. We've had some fun. This is kind of a setup for Satoshi, the next speaker, with our UHIFA Japan collaboration meetings. This is in part driven by the new Space Science and Engineering Initiative and a long, fruitful collaboration between IFA and NAOJ and beyond in Tokyo. Here's some pictures from our most recent meeting delegation in Tokyo back in March. You see a rare sighting of me actually wearing a suit and tie. I thought I'd put that behind me by taking this job at IFA, but was peer pressured into wearing it. So we had a good time there in Tokyo with the events going on. A great tour of all 4 campuses of University of Tokyo. The next in the sequence of these meetings is actually next week. We have a Space Science Symposium that will occur in Manoa Monday, here at IFA Hilo Tuesday, and then up on the summit of Mauna Kea Wednesday of next week. And then I will be back there in Tokyo for the Subaru user meeting at the end of October. If you're wondering, many of you will recognize Michitoshi on the right there. He and I were only sampling, not consuming those large bottles of sake at the dinner table there. And my last slide, just to capture IFA's mission and some of what I've covered. Got a lot of new hires. I'm very pleased with that. Long story short, that really does reflect UH administration's support for Hawaii astronomy and the Institute for Astronomy. So with 18 new faculty between SSEI and our IFA faculty, it's a lot going on. I don't have time, but the large part of what we're doing is the new Native Hawaiian Place of Learning program to make the Institute for Astronomy a Hawaiian place of learning. I didn't mention it, but we have money we're in the middle of a design study right now to add a building right next to IFA Hilo for SSEI. And the super cool part of all of this is we've just started with about 20 students at UH Hilo, a new engineering degree pathway for local students to get advanced degrees in engineering. The intent being to have some fraction of them work up on the summit of Mauna Kea in their future. So a lot going on, a lot of uncertainties. I wanted to share with you that despite all that, we are pressing ahead on multiple fronts here at the Institute for Astronomy. And I'm probably more than my fair share of time, so I'm going to stop share. I don't know if you guys want to ask any questions or just